Start. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Read Bismillah. That one is doing that nonsense again. Okay. Can you go, yeah? I'll give you now that I'm just saying this here to the other group. Just check it out. We'll start. Bismillah. I'll read who's reading first.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن هشام عن أبيه عن قيس خالد وهو أخ معبد رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حين أخرج من مكة خرج مهاجرا إلى المدينة وهو أبو بكر ومولى أبي بكر عامر بن هويرة دليلهما عبد الله العيسي من معبد فسألوها لم
كلمة translate again. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم. وأنا حزام بن هشام عن أبيه عن جده حبيش بن خالد. Narrating the authority of Hizam ibn Hisham, and he in turn narrates from his father, and he in turn narrates from his grandfather. And who was his grandfather? Hubaysh ibn Khalid, right? Remember, we're still discussing the miracles of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and here a magnificent miracle will be discussed. And so his grandfather was Hubaysh ibn Khalid, and who was he? Huwa akhu Ummi Ma'badin. He was the brother of Ummi Ma'bad, and this is where, in her tent, this is where the miracle played out. It says, Anna Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam حين أخرج من مكة. أخرج, to remove. أخرج was removed. So you can say when he was expelled from Makkah. Remember when the Kuffar Quraysh made life unbearable for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Makkah, and he got permission from Allah Ta'ala to leave. خرج مهاجرا إلى المدينة. He exited. Muhajiran is like the Halian, in the condition of making hijrat ila Medina to Medina. Huwa, so that is, you can say Huwa is also, it is the file of Muhajir, Kharaja, and Abu Bakr also is Ma'atuf alayh, all becomes a file. Wa Mawla Abi Bakrin, and Mawla of Abu Bakr, the free slave. And who was he? That is a Sifat. Amir ibn Fuhayrata. Right. Right, who's Daliluhuma, there's two's guide, Abdullah al-Laythi. Abdullah al-Laythi was like, say, remember those days, there was no fixed roads, there was no GPS, nothing. If you want to travel, you had to hire a guide, he would show you the road, right? So, Marru ala khaymatay ummi ma'badin. So, after they left, we done this, they spent sometime 3 days in the Ghar, and after they finished in the Ghar, now when the road was clear, the first incident that happened was Suraqat ibn Malik al-Juhsham. There was a miracle also, we discussed that in detail, right? Then they obviously, now those days, I mean, there was no Shell Ultra, this, that. You couldn't buy food on the road. You had to rely to somebody you see on the roadside, right? So, Marru ala khaymatay ummi ma'badin. They passed by the two tents of Ummi Ma'bad. فَسَأَلُوهَا لَحْمًا وَتَمْرًا. They requested from her some meat and some dates to eat, لِيَشْتَرُوا مِنْهَا, so that they may purchase it from her. Carry on. Right. So Asaba, you see, I told you a nice way to translate, to obtain something. That is why also, like when somebody does something and they say it's the correct thing, you say Asabta, you done it correctly. Like how we say, you were successful. So here you can say, فَلَمْ يُصِيبُوا, they were not successful. They were. So they were not successful. That in other words, she didn't have anything. وَكَانَ قَوْمٌ مُرْمِلِينَ مُثْنِينَ. So remember I told you that the Arabs, Makkatul Mukarramah, etc., it was a dry place. It was an Arab place. Life was very, very difficult, right? Except maybe those, you know, the traders and that type of thing that used to trade. So people were generally that those days, it could refer in general, or it could refer maybe just that particular time. There was a drought. So Murmilina means yeah, that was drought that time. And Musnina, sorry, Musnina means drought, right? And also Murmil means, I told you, Musnina means drought, and Murmil means that person who is, his supplies are depleted, right? Right? Murmil. So, wakala qawmu, Murmilina, Musnina. So I thought it could refer to that particular instance, or just mean general. In general, life was difficult. People didn't have extra things. Right? Carry on. Oh, فنظر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى شاة فيه. I got كسر. What you got there? You got anything? Of a, right. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw a sheep in one of the corners of the tent. It was right, you know, it was maybe weak. It didn't have the strength to go out to graze, right? So Nabi says, "Ma hadi shat ya umma ma'bad." What is the story with this particular sheep here? It never go out to graze, or what's the problem? Yeah. So he said, so Ummi Ma'bad said, قالت شاة, such a sheep, خلفها الجهد الجهد عن الغنم, a sheep who the hard times, difficulty, خلفها, has kept it back عن الغنم, from the other animals. In other words, it's too weak to go out. It's like old, it's weak, it's grabbed by hunger. It doesn't have the energy and the strength to go out and eat with the other animals, right? So Nabi Samsa hal biha min labanin. Does it have any milk perhaps? Because we also need something. So this means here, look, ajhad means you can say ultras. It is even more hard pressed than that. So what do you mean by hard pressed than that? That here, for you to give something off, you must have extra. Like for me to give you something, I must have extra. So first I need for myself. And then when I have extra, now I can give you. You know what I'm saying? So what this means is that this sheep, forget about giving you milk. It doesn't even have any enough sufficient energy to survive itself. So it's forget about, like I will say, forget about giving, like you say, can you borrow me 1,000 rand, please, man? Say forget about giving you 1,000 rand. I need myself some money like that. So forget about the sheep benefiting you with milk. It doesn't even have enough energy in its body to sustain itself. That's why it's weak. It's in the corner. You understood it? That's what it means there. قالت هي أجهد من ذلك. It is even more hard pressed than that. Means forget about giving. It doesn't have sufficient for himself, right? Carry on. Right. So then Rasulullah said, okay, no, this is واحد مؤنث خاطب مخاطب, right? أتأذنين لي أن أحلبها. Do you permit for me that I can milk it? I can see what I can get from it, right? So you say, I take a qasam, my father right, my father be sacrificed for you, my mother be sacrificed for you. In ra'ayta biha halaban fahlubha. If you can, I said, ra'a, the default meaning of ra'a is to see, né? But many a time also it translates if you find, if you experience, if you see, or you find with it any milk, you are welcome to do it so, right? Right, so Nabi Sam called Fada'a biha. He said, okay, bring the sheep to me. Fada'a biha Rasulullah, right? You got masaha or masaha? What you got in your kitab there, Yusuf? فَمَسَحَ بِيَدِهِ. So he passed his hands. وَسَمَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى. And he made dua. He named Allah Ta'ala. وَدَعَى لَهَا فِي شَاتِهِ. And he made dua for her. يعني for Ma'bad with regards to her sheep. In other words, like how we say, you pass your hand over for benediction, etc. Right? وَدَعَى لَهَا فِي شَاتِهَ. Right? Right? Right. فتفاجت عليه, then it opened its legs, right? فتفاجت means it opened its legs, right? So obviously to have access to the others, UDDERS, it must open its legs, right? Then it opened its legs, it came to Rasul, وَدَرَّت means to give abundant milk, right? You check this, right? So darrat means it gave abundant milk, right? وَاجْتَرَّت. Take that word, wajtarrat there. It began, you can say like bubbling, gurgling, right? Wajtarrat. Jazakallah Shaykh. Carry on. Right. Fada'a bi'ina'in Europe. Right. Then Nabi Sallallahu called for such a utensil, Yurubidu rahtu, that a whole group could drink from it, could benefit from it, right? Right. فَحَلَبَ فِيهِ ثَجًّا. He milked in it ثَجًّا, abundant, right? Right. To such hatta allow how until the froth came on top of it, right? Right. ثم سقاها حتى رويت. Then he gave from it until they were satiated, right? Loud, say loud. Ma'bad, sorry, right. Okay, ثم gave to Ma'bad. You got it, Ma'bad and Ananidia in the Asha. Okay, Jazakallah. ثم سقاها حتى رويت. So he gave his host first. He gave to Ma'bad first until she was satiated, right? Right. وَسَقَى أَصْحَابَهُ حَتَّى رَوُوا. And then he gave to drink all his companions until they also satiated, right? ثُمَّ شَرِبَ آخِرُ. Then the last one of them drank. Right. Then ثُمَّ حَلَبَ فِيهِ ثَانِيًا. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam milked it for a second time. بعد بدء, after the first time. حتى ملأ الإناء, until he filled the utensil. Then he left it by them, by her, right? And right then, ثم غادر وبايعها, then he sold it, bought it, وارتحلوا, and left from them. Carry on. رواه. Right. رواه في شرح السنة. Then narrate this particular in شرح السنة. وابن عبد البر and عبد البر في الاستيعاب. In استيعاب also written. وابن الجوزي, Ibn Jawzi also narrates في كتاب الوفاء, in his book كتاب الوفاء. وفي الحديث قصة. And with regards to this hadith, there's another story as well, right? Sorry, this I translated here wrong here. ثم غادره عندها. This I translated. حتى ملأ الإناء. Nabi Sallallahu filled, after they all drank, right? He filled the utensil and he left it for her, right? ثم ملأ الإناء. ثم غادرها عنده. غادر كنت غادر. ما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصى. To leave, right? ثم غادره عندها. He left the utensil for her, right? وبايعها. Baya doesn't mean yeah, that's not I translated it's Ba'aya, be or to sell. No, but it means he gave her back. That was she accepted Islam, right? Wabaya, waratahalu, and then he left from there. So in simple words, is the Nabi after the Hijrat, they needed some road food and they saw this. Now, normally, if you study the Hadith, you see it was a common practice amongst the Arabs. They considered mandatory that, like, if somebody is traveling, somebody's coming past, they would give freely because they knew that there's no provisions to the person because they knew there's no other like here you say somebody's passing through P, there's a shop, there's a Nando's, it's this that they can go and buy. So there were no shops. So it was like a common thing to say that if somebody's coming, you in town, that you must give him something to eat, you must provide for him. So then the sheep here was so weak, forget about providing milk, it couldn't even walk, right? So Nabi Sallallahu made a dua for barakah, and the result of the barakah, it gave enough milk for Nabi Sallallahu and his companions to drink, and over and above that, it also left extra milk there. And then Ma'abad was impressed with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. She accepted Islam, she gave him ba'at. So I was telling you this was on the journey after Hijrat, after probably this was after Nabi Sallallahu met Suraqah ibn Malik. So the word here is one word here called uh, musnitin. That word there. وَكَانَ الْقَوْمُ مُرْبِلِينَ musnitina. Asnata yusnitu. Musnitu means somebody who is gripped by a drought. Somebody who is gripped in the midst of a drought. Murbilin, that person who is road food has been depleted. خلفها الجهد. Juhd means like tiredness, weakness, etc., has kept it back. In other words, it's too weak to go to follow the rest of the flock, to go out into the mountains, to graze, etc. So it's khalaf, right? Too weak to go out. So that's it. So the weakness has kept it back. Tafajat. Yeah, tafajat means like I told you, in order to have access to the others, UDDERS, it has to open its legs. Darrat, to give abundant milk. You arbada yurbidu. That word the arbada. فدعا بإناء يربض الرهط. A big group of more than three can utilize it. That means arbada yurbidu, right? Tajjan is like when if a little liquid falls, it doesn't make a sound. But if you have a lot of liquid, when it falls in, it makes a sound. So that's what it means there. Look at it. Where is it again? Yeah. Right. فحلب فيه سجا. The milk was coming so much out that you could hear it like splashing, dropping. Right? That's sajjan means, right? Then al-baha, I told you that refers to um the froth. Froth. Ruwiyat. That is from rawaya, rawaya means to be satiated, to be satisfied, to be full. Ghadara, to leave. Quran also, فَلَمْ يُغَادِرْ مِنْهُ. Allah mashfi shifa'an la yughadiru saqama. To leave, Allah Ta'ala cure him, does not have any illness, nothing remains. So interesting thing is when Ma'bad saw this, she accepted Islam. And later on that evening, when the husband of Ma'bad came and she narrated to him what had transpired, that this unique person came and he milked the dry sheep, so to say. So he said, Wallahi, this is definitely the Prophet that had appeared in Makkah al-Mukarramah. And he said, I was meaning to meet him and accept Islam at his hands, but I didn't get a chance. And if I meet him again, I will definitely accept Islam at his hands. So on the one hand, the people of Makkah were busy pursuing Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, tormenting him. And on the other hand, here you had people that were recognizing his worth. Subhanallah. So the miracle there is that the sheep that was totally, I can say, useless, old, weak, through the barakat of Nabi Sallallahu passing his hands on there, praying, reading, etc. It once again became, it got a new leaf of life, new lease of life, sorry, and it produced abundant milk, enough for Rasulullah Sallallahu and his companions, and also enough to leave behind. So Alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah Ta'ala, we finished the chapter of the Mu'jizat, that is the miracles of Rasulullah Sallallahu. Now we're going to start, inshallah Ta'ala, accept that, Allah Ta'ala put it on our mizan. We're going to start a new chapter, Babul Karamati. If you remember correctly, Karamat refers to miracles that happens at the hands of a non-Nabi. So we, the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we believe in miracles. That means non-Anbiya, pious servants of Allah Ta'ala, supernatural acts can happen at their hands as well. So it comes also in our Aqidah books. We've done this in Aqidah al-Tahawiyah. وَكَرَامَاتُ الْأَوْلِيَاءِ حَقٌّ, that the miracles of non-Anbiya are truth, is the truth, right? It is the truth. It is reality, right? It's now Aqidah books. In fact, in Usul al-Shashi, you done Usul al-Shashi. In Usul al-Shashi also is mentioned in وَكَرَامَاتُ الْأَوْلِيَاءِ حَقٌّ, right? So unlike you get the Mu'tazilats, the Mu'tazilats are those people, they put, you can say, reason in front of text. Anything in the Quran which doesn't make, so to say, logical sense to them, they'll interpret it in a metaphorical manner, right? Or if it's from the Hadith, they'll outright reject it. So obviously they can't outright reject the Quran. So they'll, like I gave you example. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, Subhanallah, asra bi'abdihi layla min al-masjid al-haram min al-masjid al-aqsa. That Allah Ta'ala took Nabi Sallam in one night from Masjid al-haram to al-aqsa. So that is a supernatural thing. It's not a normal thing. So what they say not refer to the hijrat, the journey that Nabi Sallam took from Makkah to Medina. When Aqsa is, where's Aqsa, where's Medina? So they do, so because they don't believe in anything supernatural or out of the ordinary, they give some unique interpretations to the text of the Quran. I'll give you another example. You know, from the Quran, because they don't believe in miracles, that when Musa alayhi salam, Allah Ta'ala parted the ocean for Musa alayhi salam, and when Musa alayhi salam successfully crossed the ocean, when Fir'aun was coming through the ocean, then Allah Ta'ala brought the waves to drown them together. So they say, no, this refer to, you know, you fish, you do fishing. You know, you get springtime. The water is very, very high. You know what? Springtime. So they say, no, this is not where Allah Ta'ala parted the ocean. It just Fir'aun and his people, they were on the shore and the springtime came and washed them away. Because they don't believe in miracles. They don't believe in miracles of the Anbiya salatu wa taslim. And neither do they believe in the miracles of the awliya. So we, the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we believe, we who accept the Quran as explained by the Sahaba Ikram, as practiced by Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and explained by the Sahaba Ikram, and also as explained by the Tabi'in, we believe in the miracles of the Anbiya. We discussed that already, alhamdulillah. And we also believe in the miracles of the awliya, right? Pious people, Allah Ta'ala make things happen at the hand, which is out of the ordinary, right? So this is the next thing we discuss, Babul Karamati. In the Quran, Allah Ta'ala also speak about it, some miracles. He says, وهزي إليك بجزء النخلة تساقط عليك رطبا جنيا. Maryam alayhi salam, and shake to you, by you, بجزء النخل, right? بجزء النخل, the branch of the date tree, تساقط عليك رطبا جنيا, it will fall upon you fresh dates, And then another one, وقال تعالى قال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب أنا آتيك بقبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك. Here he's making a reference to an incident that is mentioned in the Quran also, that the jinn, Ifrit in the jinn said, قال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب, the one who by him is the knowledge of the kitab. He said, أنا آتيك به, I will bring it to you. I will bring the throne of the queen of Sheba, of Bilqis. أنا آتيك قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك, before your eyelid even return. In other words, in the blink of an eye, in the blink of an eye, I will return it to you. So this was a miracle. So we see here from the Quran also, Allah Ta'ala speaks about miracles out of the ordinary things that happen at the hands of non-Anbiya alayhi salatu wa taslim. You understood that? So the word here is Babul Karamati. You know, Jama Mu'annas Salim, uh, or rather muannas, if you want to make it jama, you put alif ta. So karamatun is the wahid and karamatun is the plural, right? And the root words are from ikram, akrama, yukrimu, takrim. And what is the what you say, wajhut tasmiya? Why is it called a miracle? Why is it called a karamat? Because normally when a pious person, a miracle happens at his hand, it's a means of honor for him. It is through that he's honored, through that he's respected, through that people honor him, etc. So that's why this words are used, akrama yukrimu, because when a supernatural feat take place at the hands of a pious person, then he is honored by that, right? So that is, you can say, the literal meaning. The technical meaning is this here. Remember, Allah Ta'ala created everything. This world is Darul Asbab. Allah Ta'ala, everything, nothing happens without a means. Everything has a means. And Allah Ta'ala is the controller of that means. Allah Ta'ala is the controller of that means. But sometimes when something happens without the normal means, something happens without the normal means, right? Like we know, for example, if something gets thrown up into the air, it will fall down. Gravity will bring it down. That's a normal thing. But if somebody starts walking in the air here, flying in the air, that is against the normal means. So that is what we in Arabic we say khariqun anil adati, out of the normal means. So the technical meaning of karamat is this here. I told you it means when and something out of the means, out of the ordinary happens, right, at the hands of a pious servant of Allah Ta'ala, and not that person who is claiming nubuwat. Because obviously, if it happens at a Nabi's hands, then it's a mu'jiza. We discussed this in detail, right? We discussed this at the beginning. So this is at the hands of a non-Nabi, but rather it happens at the hands of a muttabi sunnat. What? Right? So why I'm saying this, stressing muttabi sunnat, because sometimes it happens that an evil person also can perform miracles. A lot of times it happens, like we done this in the beginning. So that is not termed as a karamat. That has another word. Can you remember the word we done it? Right? What was the word? Irhas is something before nubuwat. I forgot the word. I'll check it up and mention to you again. So karamat is when a Muslim pious person, a muttabi, a sunnat. So we believe even in today's day and age, right, that pious people, Allah Ta'ala can still make out of the ordinary actions happen at their hands, right? So there's no, like how we say, nubuwat is finished, etc., etc. Karamat is not finished. And then the famous incident about Umar, there's few actually. Umar radiallahu ta'ala, remember he was giving khutbah in Masjid al-Nabawi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and then he screamed out to one of his commanders, Ya Sari al-Jabal, Ya Sari al-Jabal, aw Sariya, they're attacking you from the behind the mountain, they're attacking you from behind the mountain. That was one. Another one was this here, just coming to my random ones and come to my mind. Remember, in the reign of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the people of Egypt, they had to sacrifice a young virgin maiden for the Nile to overflow, right? So when the Umar came to Egypt came under the control, Muslim said, what nonsense is this? And he sent a letter to the Nile and he said, if you are flowing with the will of Allah Ta'ala, then I command you to flow. Right? So that's also another one, right? When the river flowed, it overflowed without because they used to what they used to do in Egypt is they used to plant on the banks and they should dig furrows. So when the river overflows and the water flows into the furrows and like that, it waters the crops. So that is another example. You'll be surprised, ne? You, alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala has blessed you, you in the madrasa, you hear this thing. You go out and you interact. I promise you, you will even find people that don't believe that miracles are reality. There are actually people like that. We're starting the next chapter, Babul Karamati, right? So sometimes you take it for granted that this is such a simple thing. Everybody knows it, everybody believes it, everybody accepts it. But when you go out and you interact with people, you will be shocked to see that sometimes some people, only from your own family member, from your close associates, etc., they say, no, we don't accept this. It's fairy tales, right? So anyway, I was telling you that we, the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we have ittifaq upon the reality of karama. That's why it's our text in our Aqidah books, wa karamatul awliya haqqun. And then I told you, in previous times, you have the Mu'tazilats, right? You can translate them in English maybe as the rationalists. Those people, in simple words, I told you, they put their logic in front of text. They rather, like I told you, they'll give preference to their logic over the text. And in today's day and age, two people that has similar, very similar beliefs to the Mu'tazila. In fact, if you look at the Quran, only people that those people that only believe the Quran and they don't believe in the Hadith, they'll tell you. Once I asked him in the chat, you people are a new phenomenon. You never exist throughout the ages. Give me proof that you exist. So then I said, then he spoke about the Mu'tazilas. He said, see, we are the Mu'tazilas. So maybe they attribute themselves to the Mu'tazilas, but to what extent they exactly conform with the Mu'tazila, I'm not sure, but I can say for a fact that in this aspect here, it is Quran only people that exist here in our midst also. A lot of them there in Pretoria, Claudius, and those places. They also don't believe in miracles. They say, as I told you, that they give a logical explanation to all these type of things, right? So I was telling you in the Quran also, Allah Ta'ala speaks about the miracles of Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam. Now there is ikhtilaf amongst ulama whether Khidr alayhi salam was a Nabi or he was just a pious servant of Allah Ta'ala. So those people who say they are from amongst the ulama, they say Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam was a Nabi. So if we say he's a Nabi, then it's a mu'jiza, right? But if we go with the opinion that he's not a Nabi, that Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam was a pious servant of Allah Ta'ala, engage in the service of Allah Ta'ala, then we'll have to say whatever supernatural act happened at his hands, we'll say it's a karamat, right? Like here in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala speaks about the miracles of Maryam alayhi salam, the beautiful fruits she got out of season, that's proof. And then also Dhul Qarnayn, Ashab Kahf, all that about what happened to Ashab Kahf, 300 years in the cave without their body rotting, etc., etc. These are all proofs for. These all will come under Wakaramat because they were not Anbiya alayhi salatu taslim, right? And inshallah, in the forthcoming hadith also, we will discuss many, many miracles of the Sahaba Ikram. So, miracles at the hands of pious people, listen to this nicely, it's a proof of the wilayat. It's a proof of the close relationship that person have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not a proof of divinity, right? This is where the Christians went wrong. Nah? When Isa alayhi salam performed supernatural acts, was it تحيي الموتى وتبرئ الأكمه والأبرص, etc., etc. They misunderstood it and they attributed divinity to him. And also, as we discussed, in fact, I'm doing this with now the girls upstairs, when the Dajjal come and he will perform supernatural acts and he will claim divinity, that people will accept him, and as a result of that, they will go to Jahannam. And the interesting thing here is generally, listen to this nicely. Generally, miracles, when we speak about karama, the default ruling, it happens sometimes even without the knowledge of the pious person. Allah Ta'ala makes something happen at his hands. So many a times it happens that a miracle happens at the hands of a pious person and he doesn't even know it happened. He doesn't even know it happened. Sometimes Allah Ta'ala make it happen with his choice, but generally most of the time the miracle happens without the knowledge of that person, without his trust. Allah Ta'ala just manifests some barakah or something through him. Okay, so that is a brief preamble into miracles, inshallah. Tomorrow, inshallah, so you know what it is. Basically, uh, Luqman, you missed it. So a miracle is a supernatural act that happens not according to the normal means. It's out of the normal, and it happens at the hand of a pious servant of Allah Ta'ala. And we said here also briefly, just capturing for you. Many times, also, or most of the time, it happens without that person's knowledge and without his intention. Although sometimes it can happen with the intention of that person, right? So alhamdulillah, we finished the chapter of Mu'jizat. That is, Mu'jizat remembers a miracle at the hands of a Nabi, or rather, in fact, yeah, we speak particularly about Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is Karamat, and this is the belief of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. You done this also in Surah Shashi. Wa karamatul awliya'i haqqun. That we, the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, from amongst, I told you, from among this, there's certain beliefs where you can recognize who the person is. Like sometimes you go, you travel, and you see a Muslim there. You want to know, is this guy same like us? Does he have same belief as us? You ask him, do you believe in miracles? You say yes, then you know that this guy is more or less the same belief. So one of the silent features of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah is وَكَرَامَةُ الْأَوْلِيَا حَقٌّ, that we believe that the miracles of the awliya are haq. Okay, we'll switch over now to the tafsir tomorrow, inshallah. We'll start with the actual hadith. Open it, inshallah. Stop. You just tell me, I preparing. Okay, right. Okay, got it. Yeah, Ajusa. Let's show the gentleman all the broken windows here, Yazi. I'm going to show you now. Let's measure this. Window panes that are broken for me, please. If you can get Uncle Wakil, someone can give you a quotation for the.